Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach. It's going to be the round 22 review, and as you can see, it was a pretty middling round. 1,246 points, similar to honestly very similar to last week. I thought I was going to go down a few spots this week. I was hoping it wasn't going to be a lot. I was honestly, like, worst case scenario, I actually thought I was going to drop quite a few ranking positions, but we only dropped 98. So we're sitting at 513 still. So, you know, still solid, but man, it's just been a couple of unfortunate weeks. Like, not necessarily bad luck, but just a couple of our early plays. I mean, getting Nathan Cleary early last week didn't quite pan out. I mean, it still went fine, but didn't really make a huge difference. And then this week, going Latrell Mitchell early, it could have been anything. Latrell honestly looked really good, but, you know, he scored, we'll get into it in a second, but I think he scored 74, I think it was. So it was just, like, it was good, but it didn't really hurt people that weren't able to jump on. So our two big plays didn't quite get us like a massive sort of swing for people that didn't have the trades or didn't have the cash to bring them in. And then this week, it was fucking rocks or diamonds, dude. We'll have a look at the team, but there was some big scores and there was some absolute fucking shockers, man. Absolute shockers. So we'll start out with Harry Grant, 149, my man, finally. I mean, he's done this. His average is 73, which is still, like, substantially better than every dummy half. But, I mean, his actual scores, like, have been terrible. He's just saved himself with a couple of big tons. So he got 105, 104, and then a big 123 and the big 149. And then in between, like, he's got 36, he's got 34, 34, 31, 44. Like, it's been not good, but thankfully we pretty much had Grant for his massive scores, which have helped, which have very much helped. So at the end of the day, it's not what it used to be, but you'll take 150 from your dummy half this year in Supercoach, that's for sure. Damien Cook got 47. You know, we'll take it. He was one of our reserves. Obviously, we had the option to nuff him out last week. We went with Solomona, and I'm still happy with that. Cook, we're not necessarily going to play him every week, but he is good cover. If anything happens, we're not going to be absolutely in trouble because, you know, I don't want to use all my trades. We only got 3 left. We want to be a little bit, you know, a little bit careful. We got one big trade to make this week, but also there's decisions to make, but I think we're just going to make the one trade. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end as well. Front row, Joe Tarpany, 67. Honestly, I'll take that. The Raiders, I don't know, just fucking the Raiders, man. Corey Horsworth, 39 points. I don't really know what happened with this one. I mean, Corey was going gangbusters. He was on like 30 points about in his first stint, and then he just didn't put him back on till like at the very end of the game. I don't really know what was going on. Maybe a niggling injury, but I'm fucking hoping Ricky Stewart doesn't absolutely screw us over here and for whatever reason drop Horsworth's minutes back down to like 50 minutes. That would be a bit of a killer. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but yeah, hopefully he goes back up to that 60-70 minute mark, because I mean, for one, they fucking need him out there for 70 minutes. He's been their best forward all year. He's been sensational. So, I mean, it must have been a niggling injury or something, surely. Because it was very strange. Like, he played, like, the first 30 minutes, and then, yeah, he played, 17 minutes in the back end. So, yeah, bit of a strange one, it's got to be said. Our back row was pretty okay. I mean, Dave Fafita, again, he didn't play 80 minutes. So, I mean, people that didn't jump on Fafita straight after Origin, basically, have come out pretty well. And it's honestly a trade that I'm starting to be like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have jumped straight back on Fafita. I mean, he's still arguably the best second rower in Supercoach this year, like, without doubt. But only playing 61 and then 67 minutes. I don't. Again, this one was a weird one as well because he went off and then he came back on for like the last 5 minutes for whatever reason. So I don't understand what they're doing with Fafita. I mean, I know the Titans are pretty much gone from finals contention, but like he's still on massive money. Like he should be playing 80 minutes. He really should be. Bryce Cartwright, 58 points. Got to be happy with that. I mean, Cartwright, he's just the gift that keeps on giving. Like I know I've said it so many times that Cartwright was going to be the guy. You know, a week goes by, I'm like, okay, Cartwright, he's got one more week in him and then he's off. And then it just something always kept happening. Like, to start with, it was just like an injury or a suspension that kept his spot. But then, I mean, his form and his Supercoach scoring was that good that it was like, no, you have to keep him at this point. So, Bryce Cartwright, you know, just on fire. I mean, 58, it's not incredible, but just for what we had at the start, very happy with it. And they take on the Dragons this week, so potentially could be a nice upside game for Brycey boy. Johnny Bateman, 44, bit of a disappointing game this, but again, it was against the Rabbits. It's a tough game for them. Who have they got this week? The Raiders. Oh, actually, I think that's probably a decent matchup for Bateman. Like, it's not great, but playing against his old club, you know he's going to be fired up for it. He might get himself into some trouble, but he's probably going to score pretty well. Britton Nickera got 56. He updated quite a bit. I remember seeing, like, after the game, he was on, like, 30-odd points, which I found a little weird because I was sure he had a line break that they didn't give him, and also potentially a line break assist that they didn't give him. Like, in the second half, he actually, I thought he had a couple of attacking stats. It didn't actually register in the stats straight after the game, but they gave him an update. So I didn't play Nickera, and it seemed like a bit of a masterstroke when I didn't, but he did update a little bit. So yeah, we lost a few points against a couple of players, but nothing too egregious. Our halfback, so Nathan Cleary was our captain. 109 points. This was a bit of a roller coaster. He finished the game on 98, I think, and then you knew he was going to update because I was pretty confident that they missed, like, the try to Toto, where they gave the try assist to Crichton, who just draw and pass. It was the pass from Cleary that set up the try, and I did think they should give him that try assist the way they have been scoring. So he updated to like 120 odd points, and then he's downgraded again to 109. So he just got like 10 more points for something. I guess he maybe, I don't really understand. I don't know what he actually got the points for. Maybe he just got the try assist without the line break assist, I'm guessing. But regardless, we chucked the captaincy on him. Again, it wasn't like a big swing either way because a lot of the other popular captaincies did fine as well. If you put the captaincy on Hines, I mean, you're a fool. You got 22 points. Not the greatest for Nicholas Hines. And yeah, so he's actually down 826,000. He's dropping cash quickly. They take on the Rabbits this week, so not an easy matchup. But now there's a little bit of talk. Will Kennedy is obviously out, injured, potentially gone for the year with a hemi. There's a bit of talk that Hines could go back to fullback. Now, I don't necessarily think it's going to be a huge difference. Like, just in general play, like generally for the year, if he was playing fullback or halfback, I don't think it would make that much of a difference. But the fact that they're going to be coming up against some tougher teams, I actually think going to fullback would be beneficial, just because he is gonna have to run the ball more often. He'll have less organizing to do, and against better teams when they're not scoring 30 odd points, you know, he'll still get better at base stats. So I hope he does go to fullback. Whether he does or not, I don't know. We'll see. But hopefully he does, honestly. Kalen Ponga with a 122. Again, oh man, this could have been anything. I gotta be honest, I was shocked he didn't get a head knocker assessment when he went after that high ball and his legs got taken out. Because it's not like he got knocked out, but he did look a little bit stunned when he was on the ground. I thought, there's no way he doesn't get a checkup here. But then later in the game, he also copped what even happened? A bit of a swingy arm or something, and they took him off for that one for whatever, you know. I don't know. It's a bit strange sometimes, but as an owner, I was like, obviously not, it wasn't the greatest, but as a non-captain, I was like, thank God, because he was on track for like, oh man, it could have been anything. His form is just unbelievable. Like, he's owned by basically everybody, but if you don't own him, it's just an absolute nightmare. Like, you can't get him in now. He's too expensive, and he just doesn't look like stopping, really. The Knights take on the Dolphins this week as well, so it's not going to be much better for non-Ponga owners. Cody Walker with a 58. I mean, you'll take it, I guess. It was against the Tigers, so you were definitely hoping this would be a nice little swing for the Cody Walker owners. Like, this was a big game, honestly. And I mean, the Rabbitohs, they do have a couple of good games coming up still. So not the worst thing in the world. But, you know, a lot of people sold Walker to Ponga, you know, which was a great trade. And I was going to do it. But we found a way to not do it and hold Cody Walker. And I was hoping that he'd repay the faith with a couple of big ones. And there's still time for him to do it. But, you know, if he could just get a couple of big scores in the next couple of weeks, it would be a really good swing, because he is a bit of a pod ownership player now. Like, a lot of people own Munster, Ponga as their halves. He's still owned by quite a few, but it's not like he's not the majority ownership at the moment. Our center wing. So the center wing. Oh man. So fuck me. Things have fallen. They've fallen off a damn cliff. So Joey Manu, 18 points. It is what it is. I mean, they came up against the Bronx, the Bronx are the fucking top of the table. They've been impressive, and they just dominated the Roosters. So it is what it is. I mean, Manu just didn't get really any room to move. The Broncos did a great job. They take on Manly this week. I mean, I was never going to look at selling Manu anyway. It's one of those games that the Broncos were too damn good. Just having a quick squiz, because, I mean, for anyone that may be looking at Manu and like, oh, I should trade him out, I really don't think you should. Like, they got Manly, they've got Dolphins, Parramatta, Tigers, Rabbits. Like, maybe Parramatta, but even Parramatta, they're not defensively powerhouses this year. Rabbitohs in the last round, you know, that'll be a tough game, but you would expect both teams to be pretty fired up. But yeah, they're not taking on any of the real top teams at the moment anyway. I mean, Parramatta could be, Rabbitohs obviously are as well, but they're not taking on Penrith or Broncos again, or even Cowboys from like potentially, even though last game the Cowboys were pretty shocking against the Titans. So there's going to be more points on offer for Manu. I wouldn't stress. Val Holmes, fuck man, Val Holmes with a 31. Second week in a row he's been sin bin, just absolutely breaking my heart, because Holmes was like too good to be true. Because I mean, I've said this plenty of times as well, but he was the first guy over Origin that I was going to trade out. But again, just other trades were just more pressing, and there was no reason to trade Holmes for that first Origin game. Then he backed up, and he's just gone gangbusters. But the last couple of weeks, he's been sin bin twice. Last week he still somehow got 50 points. I mean, I can't complain. I mean, over Origin period, he's gone 150, 91, 117, 93, the 50, and then the 31 against the Titans, which is a real dagger, because again, he's a pod player. 28% of teams, but it's definitely a lot lower for like the top few thousand, I would say, or 10,000. But yeah, it is what it is. Disappointing. And also now Holmes is suspended for, well, we don't know for sure, but he's looking at 3 weeks. I would say, you know, it was a bit unlucky. I mean, Campbell ducked down a lot, but at the end of the day, it was shoulder contact to the head. So yeah, it's understandable. Now the thing, obviously, we're going to trade him out, and then fucking so. Well, I guess we don't have to. We'll talk about it in a second. We'll talk about it in a second after we go through this. But then Ruben Garrick with a 55. You know, he's been solid, but yeah, he can't quite break free. I thought he must have downgraded a bit as well. I thought he was on a few more points. Alex Johnston with a 122. So, I mean, our Rabbitohs players went okay, but thankfully Johnston went big. Jared Croker with a fucking 26. I mean, Jared Croker, he's fallen off a cliff as well. I mean, you know, it hasn't really affected us because we haven't played him really at all, and also we haven't, you know, his auto emergency. We haven't really looped in a while either to cop a low Jared Croker score, but man, he's just, from that 57 against Gold Coast, it's just gone. And there was good games, man, good games for the Raiders, but I don't know. Dragons, like Zach Lomax did a number on him, 31. The Warriors 30, and then 26 against Newcastle. Like, they're 3 pretty good games you would expect, but they have the Tigers this week. And again, it hasn't really affected, but the price drop is a little bit annoying, I guess. And then our fullbacks, Latrell Mitchell. I actually can't believe he didn't update more points, because I thought he was dominant. And I thought he threw so many offloads that usually the scorers don't actually score properly. And they don't. Like, the offloads and stuff always get updated sort of later. And also tackle busting. So I can't believe Latrell Mitchell only got 74 points. I'm pretty sure he didn't change his score at all in this game. But I don't know. It is what it is. And then James Tedesco with a 34. Again, taking on that red-hot Broncos team. They just got dominated. So, you know, it sort of evens out. He got 120, 130 last week. He got 30 this week, so he's still doing okay. Still doing okay since we brought him in. Again, they got Manly this week at the SCG, so it's not a bad matchup for Tedesco. So the trade I was going to make this week is Chance Nickel-Clockstad. Now, I think that's just the obvious trade. Again, I would love Greg Marju. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Marju just fucking, oh. Actually, we'll go back to my team, because I think I did the maths like quickly with Croker. Even if he dropped a lot of cash, I'm pretty sure I was still able to afford Chance. Yeah, we were still fine. We can still afford Chance going Croker. Now, obviously, the decision now, I guess, do we trade Croker? Do you trade Croker to Clockstad this week? I'll have to look at his break even. It's probably still pretty high because he keeps fucking scoring so low. So he's probably got a pretty high break even. He might drop more cash. So it probably does make sense just to get rid of Croker, because you might be like, just trade Holmes. But Holmes, he's going to be gone for 3 weeks. He's not going to make or lose cash over that time anyway. Jared Croker, though, if he's got like a 50-60 break even still, he'll probably lose more cash. And then it'll just make, you know, if we do want to trade him out at some point, it's going to make it very difficult to get anybody of decent value. So I think, well, we can afford just to go Croker, and then it leaves 760k with Holmes that we can trade to someone. I don't know who. I mean, could go Greg. I mean, fucking Greg. Thank God, Greg, he scored 69 points. He got a fucking try. He just keeps scoring like the simplest tries of all time. Like, it was going to be such a low score for Greg, but of course he just gets this little stroll over try. I was fuming, dude. But what are the centers? I mean, fucking Dane Gagai is on another level this year. I mean, he's going to get too expensive, honestly. I mean, that's the thing. If I... Could you do 2 trade? I mean, that's the thing. I'm half tempted. Fuck, man. I could use 2 trades. Do I want to do that, though, really? And leave 1 trade? Because I'm definitely getting CNK. I think that's honestly, I think he's a must-have for the run home. I think it's a genuine must-have. And then we can trade Holmes to anybody. Jermaine Asako, no. I'm not getting Asako. He scored a try in this game, scored 49 points. He's just, he's still playing well, but the Dolphins are off the boil. He's got Ewan Aiken, or if he's got Valens Tavade inside of him, he's just not seeing the same level of service from Branko. Who else is there? I mean, Ruben Garrick. We've got Campbell Graham. I mean, he's sort of gone off a little bit as well. Herbie just doesn't have the upside that I think is worth bringing in at 600k. He scores 60s like every week, but he just doesn't. He never has that. I actually want to see, has he actually ever gone over like 80 points this year? His high, he did get 109, so I'm a fucking idiot. But I mean, that's easily his highest score. I mean, he got 89 against the Sharks as well, but he doesn't really go big. It's like 50 to 70 points, which is good. It's fantastic for the start of the year, but this time of year, I think going for the high upside is the way to go. Greggy, I mean, the Knights still have a really good draw. Fucking Dolphins this week, oh my god. Fucking could be anything. If he's up against like Valens Tavade's side, because he's on the left, actually. He'll probably be up against Zarko, who, I mean, he's been really good. So, defensively, that'd be an okay, I think, that side. Is it a Zarko? Yeah, Zarko's on the right, I think. But Dolphins, Bulldogs, South, Sharks, Dragons. That's a good draw. That's a really good draw. You could easily bring in Marju. Or do you go the real pod route of Gagai? Or even Bradman Best? They're all basically the same price. Sort of take your pick. Dane, I just worry with Dane. I feel like you're gonna get Dane in, and then all of a sudden he's gonna drop back to sort of those 40 to, 30, 40, 50 mark. Maybe not, but I mean, he's been on fire, man. He's been so good. His base stats have been incredible, and his try, I mean, he's got the big man of Dom Young out there as well. So he just has to give Dom Young half a sniff and he gets an easy try assist. So if I was going to go not Marju, I think I'd take Gagai over Bradman Best. I think I would, honestly. Who else is there as a bit of a smoky? I mean, Isaiah Tass. He's been pretty solid this year as well. He's averaging 60. The Rabbits do have a really good draw still. The fact that they have a bye, though, nah, I couldn't go. They got round 26. They have a bye. 3 good games coming up, but you couldn't do that. I think it's a little bit silly. Zach Lomax is now 760k. Jacob Kiraz is looking really good in centers, but again, he's playing for the Doggies. I don't see. I mean, the upside is there with Kiraz, but no, I wouldn't do it. I don't think. Dallin Wateni. Do you go the double Warriors? Do you go CNK and Dallin Wateni Zalesniak? A couple of huge upside players. And I mean, bro, he's only in 6% of teams. His average is 70. He does have the low games in him, right? Obviously. I don't know. Looking at the numbers like this, it doesn't, I don't know. Like, obviously he's got those massive ones, but he's got such a good run. He's got the Titans, Tigers, Manly, Dragons, Dolphins. Fuck, that's juicy, dude. That's so juicy. And the Dragons, he got the 175. The Dolphins, he got 85. Manly hasn't played. Tigers, not on here. I guess we can't see fucking... why doesn't it show round... Did he not play till round 7? I don't even remember the start of the year. He must have missed it for whatever reason. I can't remember at all. But yeah, do you take the pod play of going double Warriors? I don't hate it because their draw is so good. It's juicy. It's definitely juicy, but I don't know. It's definitely risky. Joseph Suaalii, who I was somewhat keen on. It's looked okay going back to the... Honestly, fucking Suaalii. A bit of a pot on Suaalii. I mean, he scored 32, but again, it was against the Bronx. I mean, Manu got 18, Tedesco got 32, so, like, I wouldn't be reading too much into that one. His game back on the wing was pretty good, obviously against the Titans, but he's got the goal kicking still. They've got a pretty good draw. Still don't hate it. But that's the thing. That's the thing. CNK is a definite. And then if we look at our team... If we look at the team on paper... Because what would we want to save 2 trades for? I mean, surely... When Grant has a buy in round 26, so Grant's not... Cook has a buy in round 26. Grant is not going to get a rest in round 26. You wouldn't think. It would be a little silly. And then in round 27, Grant might get rested. I still wouldn't think he would, but he might. But surely the fact that Rabbitohs had a bye last round and the take on the Roosters in round 27, like Cook will 100% play. So we'll be fine for dummy halves. Front row forwards, it does look a little weak, but because we have Tohu Harris in our second row, we can easily swing Harris up with any of these guys. So we've got 3 genuine front row forward options. And again, I just don't think Ricky Stewart can rest Tarpany or Horsburgh. Harris might get a rest later in the year, potentially if he's got the niggles, but we got the cover for front row. Back row was a little bit scary because you never know. I mean, for Fifita, I don't know. The interim coach, fucking, I don't know. The times are out of the race. Like, surely you just play for Fifita for the rest of the year, but maybe he gives him a week off. I don't know. But you can't read into it too much. And then our halfbacks, I mean, Cleary and Hines. I don't think Cleary's going to get a spell because, I mean, he had such a lengthy spell with the hamstring. I think he would want to just consistently play till the finals. Nico Hines, I mean, the Sharks are going to be pushing for a top 8, so surely he's not going to get a rest, especially now with Will Kennedy being out. Kalen Ponga, Cody Walker. Again, Walker, similar to Cook, surely plays round 27. Same with Latrell Mitchell, Alex Johnston. Holmes is going to go, obviously, and Jared Croker, potentially this week, maybe. And then, so obviously Ronaldo Mulatalo got ruled out this week. Now, I guess we got to wait till team list as well to see if he's actually named to play, because I guess we could trade out Ronaldo instead of Jared Croker. But we'll see if he's actually named to play. Talakai actually came in to play starting center. I'm actually going to see what he scored because I don't think it would have been great. And then Ruben Garrick, I think we'll be pretty okay. Do we just... I don't hate it, man. I actually don't hate going the real pod route of getting 2 genuine centre wing options this week. Yeah. I think that's what we might do, honestly. And it's just a CNK definite, and then do we go Dallin? I don't know. Dallin scares me, man. Because, I mean, he got 40 at the game he last played, and he scored a try in that one. So, I don't know. Dallin's a little bit... He just has the potential for a low score, as this goddamn shit is going mighty slow. Supercoach, it likes to do this, doesn't it? So let's go. I'm just curious. I'm just curious where what's his face? Telekai scored. Jesse Ramian got a 41. Honestly, you'll take that against the Penrith. Lemuelu, anyone that owns Lemuelu, obviously a dagger to get a concussion like in the first few minutes. Telekai with a 30-point affair. So yeah, he dropped some cash. Not egregious, but definitely did. But yeah, that'll wrap it up. We'll have to have a look at team lists tomorrow and then work out what we're going to do for our either 1 or 2 trades, which will leave us either 1 or 2 trades for the remainder of the season, which, you know, at that point it's just sit back and relax and hope nothing crazy happens. But I would like 2 trades. That's the thing. So we'll decide what we're going to do. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the Supercoach action. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.